Guys, welcome to Crazy Burger. So Indie Heroes Collection 2 has been officially announced and we now have 12 games. Obviously we've been playing a lot of them through the game of the month, but there's a few we haven't played and we're going to have a look at all of them. Let's go. Okay guys, so Indie Heroes Collection 2 was supposed to ship in December this year. However, it's now going to be pushed out to January, which I think is probably a good thing. There's too much things happening in December and it will get us off to a good start in 2023. So we have 12 games here, they are. You've obviously seen some of them already through the game of the month if you have a VS. We've got Tapeworm Disco Puzzle, which is probably the best game so far. Nessie the Robot, which wasn't too bad. We've got Rectum Souls Adventure, which is kind of an RPG game. And the Cowlex Gamers Adventure Trilogy, which was 3 games in one, and they're not too bad at all. Okay, we've got some new games here. The Gruno Ozarka trilogy, I think that's how you pronounce it. There's 3 games in that, and we will play all 3 of these games in this video, and I'll give you my thoughts on them. We've got Anguna, Scourge of the Goblin King, which was a kind of a remake for the NES of the game we already have on the Game Boy Advance, on the original Indie Heroes collection. We've got Ira the Crow Medicine, which I thought was really fantastic. It's a platform, it's a Mega Drive game. We also have Beerslanger, which is a completely new game for us. We've not seen this one yet. I think it's supposed to be a little bit like Tapper. And here we have the game of the month. Last month through October was the Lunar Journey, which is a Game Boy game, and that was actually quite good. I quite enjoyed that, but it is quite short. We've got the game of the month this month, Beebest 2, which is absolutely rubbish, but yeah, it is here nonetheless. We've got a game we've not seen yet, Gelatinous, Humanity Lost, which I think is a kind of a puzzle platformy style game. Not really sure about that one. That one's a new one. It's from Retro Room, who done Quest Arrest. And lastly we have next the Paradox Relic, which I've also played, and we will be playing that in this video later on. Without further ado, let's get started with Tapeworm. So Tapeworm was one of the first game of the month that we got earlier in the year, and it's probably been the best one that we've had so far. It's from the creators of Flea, Low-Tech Games, and this is going to be the cover star again of this cart. It's absolutely brilliant. It starts off very simple enough, and there are a few levels that are pretty easy, but it does get ferociously difficult, and it's a great little challenge. I did thoroughly enjoy this one. I really loved it. It's absolutely brilliant. Unfortunately, once you've completed it, I'm not sure you want to go back, but it'll be nice to get this on the cart nonetheless. Okay, if you're lucky enough to get a little bit further in the game, it does get really tough, and it does require a lot of thinking before you actually proceed with the level. In this level itself, it does take a few goes to realise what you need to do, where you need to place the worm in order to get the button activated using this box. It's a real challenge, and it's very satisfying once you actually do complete it and figure out what to do. What a fantastic game. I absolutely love it. It's definitely worthy of being the cover star. It's definitely the best game on this cart. Arguably, you may disagree, but I think it's absolutely fantastic. Okay, next is Nessie the Robot, which was another NES platform shooter game. It kind of suffers quite a lot of flickering through the game. I guess it's just your typical Nest flickering that happens sometimes when there's too much sprite work going on, but it's not the best design game. It's okay, it's playable, you definitely get a little bit of fun from it, but it is quite basic and you will probably finish it in about half an hour, which isn't ideal, and there are a lot of games on this cart that are like that sadly, but it is fun while it lasts. Okay guys, next up is Recnum's Soul's Adventure. Okay, so here we go, you've got your character, Sherry, not sure. You've got 9 lives, so you look at the top, you've got 9 lives, then you've got your key count, and then what weapon you've got actually allocated, which is the sword, and then B button is your jump button, which only comes into effect when you're doing the sort of scrolling platform sections. If you look at that, you've got your options here, you'll collect more weapons as you go. And that's really it. It does look a little bit like Kubo 3 to start with. You can clearly see it is quite obvious a NES game. And obviously there's lots of enemies, but honestly there's no point in really taking them out. They really just respawn again and you really just end up losing loads of lives. Sometimes you're really better off just avoiding them because they respawn anyway. If you go back up, the enemies completely respawn. So I wouldn't waste too much time trying to kill every single enemy that you see. It's a little bit pointless, that doesn't really serve any purpose at all. You don't get experience points or anything like that. So eventually you will come across some boss fights through the game, and most of them are pretty simple to complete. Just need to memorise their moves, and most of them take a few hits and that's really it. This game really suffers like a lot of the other games on this cart. It's not the longest, you will probably complete it in an hour, but it is fun, so I'm not going to hold that against it. It is a fun game to actually play. Okay, next we had the Cowlex Gamers Adventure Trilogy. 3 games. The first one was kind of a basic looking, very simple. Collect all the objects you see in the screen and complete the level whilst avoiding all the traps and all the enemies at the same time. I found the first one pretty difficult, it got really frustrating pretty quick. The second and third games were probably more enjoyable in the series. I'll certainly be playing this more when it comes on the cart, I'll be looking forward to it. It wasn't too bad at all. They do look pretty awful to be honest, but they play pretty well, they are pretty good fun, they're not terrible at all, I quite enjoyed them. So next up we have Anguna Scourge of the Goblin King, which was a NES remake of the Anguna game we had on the Indie Heroes Collection 1. So it starts off pretty similar to the first game. You basically need to destroy the enemies so that you can then escape the room. The enemies die, the sort of gate automatically opens for some bizarre reason. And you can see the game does play very similar, it looks pretty similar. Obviously the graphics are slightly inferior, but so far The game is pretty similar. You destroy enemies, you get keys, and you basically make your way through. There are a lot of hidden parts in the game, so keep your eyes open. Are similar style to the first game. Okay, next we had Ira the Crow Medicine, which was finally got a Mega Drive game, and it's a platformer game where you need to go about rescuing the prisoners, I think there's 6 on this level to actually rescue, and I really enjoyed it. It's really good fun. There was also a NES version of this, so I'm really glad they've actually decided to switch up a bit and go for a Mega Drive version. This is really good, I really enjoyed it. Fantastic challenge, does get really hard, there's some really tough jumping parts and avoiding all the enemies, but yeah, it's a really good game. Definitely probably the second best game on the cart after Tapeworm so far. Absolutely brilliant fun.
Thank you.
And eventually you get to the boss level, which is pretty easy, to be honest. You just need to find the sweet spot where to stand and hit the enemy, I think it's 3 times I suppose, and then you will complete the stage and move on to the next one. It's not too hard, you just need to stand in the right spot, just learn the moves. Pretty simple so far. I'm pretty sure it'll get harder as the game goes on. Next up, the Game Boy game Lunar Journey. There's the sort of 6 minerals that you need to collect through your journey through space, and you need to refill your oxygen, come back to your spaceship. I'm not really sure at what point I need to come back and how often it sort of depletes, so we'll soon find out, I guess. So here we go. Basically you are moving about your character left, right, up and down on the D-pad, pretty simple, and then you press the one of the buttons, the B button, to interact with all the objects that you see. So basically it's an interaction adventure game, point and click, sort of find this item, take it to B, go back to A, that kind of thing. And it's got a little bit of humour here and there as well, which is kind of cool. You can see here we've got a chain blocking the door, we need pliers to fix that, and obviously we can see a pickaxe down there, we'll probably need that to clear the boulder at the start of the game there. Okay, the lemonade stand person needs something as well. Yep, we can't get a lemonade because there's no ice, so we'll need to find ice at some point. Yeah, so far so good. Obviously it looks like a Game Boy game, it looks pretty nice for what it is, and this is what I definitely like about the Evercade, is these new retro games that most people probably haven't played before. I mean, I definitely hadn't heard of Game Boy games, definitely hadn't heard of this game, so this is really good for me. I'm really looking forward to getting my teeth stuck into it. It's an adventure game, I really like it. I love my Dizzy style games, and it kind of reminds me a little bit like that. More so of the adventure part of it rather than sort of bouncing about like an egg. So now, yeah, Beebest 2, the current game of the month at the time of this video in November. So your basic premise here is to clear all the enemies that appear on the screen within the time limit, and that is basically it. You obviously got some pick 'em ups, the evil monsters, whatever they are, will probably drop some items here and there, some things like hearts, extra life. some time, extra time to be added, and even some other features like stopping the clock. But you see here, you've got a count at the top. You've got 2 more monsters to kill within the time limit. Time limit's counting down 28 seconds. And then that's you cleared the level. On the left hand side of the screen, you've got how many hits you get. You start with 5 and 3 lives. So sounds pretty simple so far, but it does get pretty tricky. And what doesn't help here is the graphics, I feel, are just a little bit of a colour clash, because there you can't actually see that those things are spikes. You see at the bottom left and bottom right, there's spikes right in the middle of the screen. Now you don't even know you've hit them. The only reason you know that you've hit these spikes is your character actually flashing and you lose a life, but you can't actually tell. I think it loses a little bit of impact. It would have been better if the sound was better and it kind of flashed up that you've lost a life. You can't actually tell. Okay, moving on to Gelatinous. This is going to be the game of the month in December, but unfortunately I can't play the game because it's not actually available unless you buy the physical cart, which comes in at $49.99. But what I'm going to do is play the actual trailer that's on the Retro Room website right now.
Gelatinous, Humanity Lost for Game Boy. Explore vast environments. Gain epic abilities. Fight a variety of enemies. Fight to regain your humanity. Gelatinous, Humanity Lost.
Okay, moving on to some of the new games. This one is Gruno Ozarka. You can actually get these games for free on itch.io, and the first one is very, very basic. You're playing the guinea pig and you need to collect the carrots. So obviously you can see they're different colours, so you need to change the guinea pig colour to match the colour that's dropping and collect it. And if you don't match them up, you will lose a life and then it'll be game over. So it's very, very simple, very basic. And it's okay. It's passable for a couple of minutes, but yeah, it's not really one. I'm glad they've obviously included the other 2 games in the trilogy because they are pretty decent. Okay, Gruno Ozarka 2. I hope I'm saying that right. Okay, you're still playing the guinea pig. And the object of the game is to collect the key to unlock the door, and there's a few other things that you can collect in between. You can see at the top of the screen you've got some blocks, and then you can use them to create a block to be able to jump over and get to the exit, and don't forget to pick up the carrot on the way. It's actually quite a good idea. I really enjoyed playing through this one. It's kind of nice. I think the guinea pig does handle a bit strangely. It's kind of odd, so you need to move the stool here to reach the carrot, but you also have a block that you can use to sort of climb on top of. So basically you hold the A button and then just push to the left or right to create a block to be able to create a platform to jump on. Pretty simple. And you see here you've also got a hammer, which is obviously what we've picked up, and you use that to destroy the blocks to create yourself a pathway to end the level. Yep, as I said, I really actually enjoyed this one. It looks pretty basic, but it was good fun. I really enjoyed it, and here I'm struggling to figure out what to do. You actually push down to activate the lever to open up the level a bit to get to the exit. I'm not sure how many levels there are in the game, but I actually really enjoyed it. I think it'll be one I'll be looking forward to playing a little bit more when it's released on the Evercade. Okay, next, the third game, the trilogy, switching it up completely again. It's a little bit like a cross between Roneo's Tale and Pyramid of Ra, which was one of the secret games if you had the Pico carts on the VS. And so the idea of it is to try and step on all the platforms, disappear them and get to the exit once it opens up, once all the platforms have disappeared. You can see there are numbers on some of the platforms. That's how many times you actually need to step on it before it will disappear, which is quite important, and yeah, it gets ferociously difficult, but oh, I love this style of game. I really enjoyed playing it, and I've enjoyed the last two of the Gruno Ozarka games. They're really good. I'm glad they've included these. It's a pity they didn't actually include these as the game of the month rather than a few they did choose. I think I would have preferred to play this, but at least we'll get to play this for the first time when it comes out on the Indies Heroes Collection 2 in January. Yep, really enjoyed these ones. Very, very good. Okay, next the Paradox Relic, which I actually purchased about 2 years ago as part of a bundle with Doodle World and Flea and another game, and it's not bad. It's obviously one of these games that's been made with the NES Maker platform, and you can probably tell by looking at the graphics they are pretty basic, and it does give those vibes of Kubo, if you remember Kubo 1, 2 and 3. It plays a little like that. It does feel very similar. It looks the same type of graphics, the same kind of idea. It's a kind of a platform shooter game, and it's not the worst. It's just a little bit basic. You'll definitely get some enjoyment from playing through it, but again, I don't think it's the longest game in the world. But it's not the worst either. It's pretty decent. It's worth a playthrough at least, and it is a good enough addition to this collection. Okay, so finally we have Beerslanger, which I'm playing here as the Steam version, and it's not bad. It's awfully very similar to Tapper, and the idea is basically to serve the customers, give them whatever beer they request, and do it all within the time limit. You've got obviously your cash limit you need to get to each time, each day, and don't miss. I think you've got allowed about 3 misses before it's game over. You obviously get the choice of, they'll just tell you what lager they want, and eventually you'll get a few options and you'll get more people coming to the bar. It's actually kind of good fun, but stupidly repetitive, and it does get really ferocious, and you get a little bit uptight, I guess, when you're playing it, and you panic a little bit as time goes on. But it's okay for a couple of playthroughs. I think some people may enjoy this type of game more than others, but it's not bad. It's actually kind of good fun, but kind of repetitive at the same time. But yeah, it's a nice addition, I think. Okay guys, so that's the final game that's going to be on Indie Heroes Collection 2. Now it is already up for pre-order at the time of this video, and it's going to release in January 2023. I think that's a good decision, to be honest. I think December's going to be full with the Evercade EXP and a couple other carts that are coming out, Ireme and Tuaplan. So pushing it to January does make a lot of sense, and it means we start off in 2023 in the best way possible with a cart. Yep, it's probably not as good as Indie Heroes Collection 1 for me. I think there's too many games that are quite short. There's not a lot to them. Yeah, I suppose there's probably more games than 12. You could easily probably add the trilogy games and bump that up again to maybe about 17. But, you know, it's good fun. There's some really good games. There's a couple really so-so games. I don't think it's going to be for everyone. If you didn't enjoy Indie Heroes Collection 1, you're not going to enjoy this any better. But this is the type of thing I want to play on my Evercade. It's new retro games that you probably haven't played before, and this is what I want to see. Now, interestingly, the Game of the Month thing is going to continue next year, starting again from April, May time, and they're going to do that for every Indie Heroes collection, which is going to release the following January 2024. Interesting idea. I'm not sure if it worked or not. I'd rather probably see demos from a few different carts and games rather than all the one cart. But anyway, this is something to look forward to at the start of 2023. Thanks for watching, guys, and catch you again in the next one. Bye for now.